Mm.
I'll also make you the co-host as well. So, dear friends, devotees, it is our great fortune that today we have His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu with us. Let's welcome him by 3 times loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu is a dear disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He's also the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs at the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapith in Govardhan Eco Village. Raise your hand if anyone has been to Govardhan Eco Village, so Prabhu can know. Uh, if you have not been, please plan to go whenever you go next time to India. So Prabhuji does amazing classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and raise your hand if you have any of the books by His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. Bhagavatam Tales or Gita Subodhini or Bhagavad Subodhini. Wow, almost everyone. Prabhuji, everyone loves your books. Everyone really loves your books. So thank you for writing such amazing books for all of us. And Prabhuji is expert in the science of bhakti and gives amazing classes and has written lots and lots of books. And if you need any of those books, you can reach out. We're happy to arrange. But we are very grateful, Prabhuji. It's in India, so it's early morning hours. So Prabhuji still took out time so that we all can benefit from his association. So let's again welcome from our heart with a garland of gratitude His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu by 3 times, loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I'll begin with some prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanathimiranthasya Gnananjanashalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। I welcome all the wonderful bright faced children to this small session, trying to do some Krishna Katha. Prabhuji did not give me any topic. He said, do Krishna Katha. So let's do some Krishna Katha. And in these few minutes where we are together, I'll be very happy if you also participate in the discussion. I don't just want to give a lecture and then move away. I want to hear from all of you, your experience also, your understanding also. Let's discuss Krishna Katha. You know, there is a beautiful shloka in the Bhagavad Gita. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayantaha parasparam. Who knows the shloka? Anyone knows? Yes, Navya Parashar. Yes, you can say the shloka. Unmute yourself and say the shloka. So you have to unmute them or...
Okay, now you should be able to. Navya, go
Yes.
ahead, please.
Achyutamatgata prana bodhayanta parasparam gadyantascha mam nityam dusyanti cha ramanti cha.
Excellent. What is the meaning of this shloka? Anyone knows the meaning? She recited so nicely. but who will tell me the meaning of this shloka? Macchitta madgata prana. Macchitta means devotees always think about Krishna. Madgata prana means they always dedicate their lives to Krishna. Prana means life. So they dedicate their life to Krishna completely. Bodhayantaha parasparam. Bodhayantaha means teaching, speaking. Parasparam means to each other, mutually. So devotees are those people who teach each other, who enlighten each other in Krishna Katha, in the glories of Krishna. So next 1 hour, let us try to teach each other, enlighten each other. So I'll speak some Krishna Katha, some glories of Krishna. You should also speak something about Krishna, right? Whatever you know, you speak. Whatever I know, I'll speak. Clear? You understood the agenda of our meeting today? Okay. Bodhayantaha parasparam. As soon as I joined the call, I saw some children nicely chanting the holy names of Krishna. I remember Avani or Dehi or just a couple of devotees I saw. So they were chanting, and Prabhu was also chanting, Shubh Vilas Growing Prabhu. Why we chant? What's the purpose behind chanting? What's the logic behind chanting? Same names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Only 3 words, Krishna, Hare Ram. We are just, uh, uh, expanding these 3 words into 16 words and then repeating that 16-word mantra multiple times. What is the logic behind chanting? Yes, Anish. Anish, unmute yourself and speak.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think the logic behind chanting is so that we can remember Lord Krishna and Lord Rama.
Okay, excellent. Anything else? Oh, you're Anish, not Anish. Yes, what's your name? Bayonto.
So we can call out to the Lord.
Okay. So Anish said we can remember the Lord while chanting. We can call out. Basically, you are prayerful to the Lord. You are seeking the Lord's help. You are trying to connect with the Lord. So these are various reasons why we chant the holy names of Krishna. Now, let us compare this process of chanting with another process that we do in bhakti. How many processes are there in bhakti? What are the different limbs of bhakti? Anyone knows? Yes, Navya? What are different methods in bhakti?
There are 9 limbs. There are 9 limbs.
Correct. What are they? Just say a few. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam. Shravanam, hearing about Krishna. Kirtanam, chanting the names of Krishna or glorifying Krishna. Smaranam, remembering Krishna. Padasevanam, serving Krishna's lotus feet. Like that, you have 9 processes of bhakti, right? Very, very profound processes. Now, of this, you are doing kirtanam. When I came, you are doing kirtanam, means you are chanting the holy names of Krishna. So another limb is Shravanam, hearing about Krishna. Now you are hearing about Krishna. Earlier you chanted his names, and later you are hearing about Krishna. Okay. Now, which is easier for you? Chanting is easy, or hearing Krishna stories is easy? Chanting Krishna's names is easy, or hearing Krishna stories? Which is easier? Who will answer this question? Yes, Navya?
Hearing.
No, Mishti. Yes? You can keep yourself unmute so that there is no time wasted in unmuting and muting.
Hearing is easier.
Hearing is easy. Okay, good. Why is hearing easy? Why chanting is difficult? In hearing, you have to hear the other person, you have to understand what they are saying, you have to answer questions sometimes, you have to analyze a lot. Your intelligence is getting too much strained, right? When you're hearing, you have to note down points, you have to remember, recollect. But chanting is just one mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You just keep on repeatedly saying it. So chanting is much easier than hearing, right? But why are you saying hearing is easier than chanting, Mishti? Mishti Ethereal.
Because in hearing, you just have to like focus on Krishna, but in chanting, you also have to also be hearing and also use your tongue like to chant. So it involves two things instead of one.
Okay, in chanting, you are hearing what you are chanting, plus you are also uttering. The two activities involved, so therefore it's more difficult than just only hearing. Okay. Yes, Karina?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I thought it was because um when someone keeps chanting the same mantra for 108 times, I thought it's just because of this material world. If people don't know the actual significance and logic behind the mantra and they keep saying it 108 times, 16 times, they'll think, oh my God, this is getting too tired. And then when they realize they'll have to do it the next day, they'll be like, that's too much. Or that, so they'll, if they don't know the logic or the significance behind it, they'll think it's too tiring and too long and too stressful. When hearing about it, you could just hear the story. And a lot of kids in this class, including me, like stories. And we just hear the kata and then we listen to the story and then we have answers behind it and then we learn a moral. That's why.
Okay, good. It's a wonderful comprehensive explanation. Very good. Yes, Krishna Rama. Oh, Ansh, what's your opinion? Final opinion. Comparison
Prabhuji,
hearing and chanting.
Prabhuji, I thought the main reason for this would be maybe because it's hard to focus when you chant. Similar to what Karina said, since you're chanting so much, it might be hard to focus after a while.
Okay. It's difficult to concentrate on chanting while it's easier to hear a story, hear Krishna Katha. Okay, good. Now I have another question. Do you serve sometimes? Do you do some service? What kind of services you do in your temple or in your home to the Lord? What kind of spiritual activities do you do? Anyone? You chant sometimes? Yes, Karina. Let Vaidehi speak. She didn't speak anything today.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I sometimes help my parents when they make prasadam.
Okay, good. Making prasadam. Next, Krishna and Rama. What services do you do?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I help my parents in cutting the vegetables sometimes for offering prasadam, and I sometimes do bhoga offering.
Okay, good. OV, Alachua, Florida. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, in the temple, I help with like setting up the plate for the 6:30 offering, and I also help wash the dishes for like the deity's plates after the 6:30 offering.
Okay, great. So you do a lot of services in picking or cutting vegetables or cleaning temple or offering bhoga or making garlands or distributing books or assisting some senior devotees, whatever. There are hundreds of services that you can do. Okay. So now you tell me which is easier, doing all these physical, practical services or sitting in a class and hearing. Okay, which is easier, and compare it with chanting also. So three things I am saying. First chanting, then hearing, then serving. You said hearing is easier than chanting. Okay, many of you agreed with that. Now I am adding one more thing in the comparison. Serving. Is serving easy or hearing easy? In comparison to hearing and chanting, which is easier? Serving? Yes. He says serving. Okay, let's do like this. This is hearing. This is chanting. Sorry, first let's chant. Keep chanting first. Chanting first. Hearing second. Third is service. Okay, which is easier for you? 1, 2, or 3? How many words for 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, at least whoever has switched on their videos, 11 words go for service. Service is easier than hearing and chanting. We all agree. So some say hearing is easier than service also, right? Avani. Avani says, who says 2? Just raise your hands. Only 2. Option number 2. Hearing is easier compared to other 2. Okay, Arthav, Okay, fine. Who says one is the easiest? Chanting is the easiest uh, compared to other two things. Who finds chanting the easiest amongst the three? No one. Not a single person. Okay, good. Okay, fine. Now, we all do all these three things, but many of us find service easier than hearing easier than chanting. Did you ever analyze why is it so? You did some analysis between chanting and hearing. So why is service easier compared to even hearing and chanting? Many people, at least 11 people I saw raising hands, that service is much easier compared to hearing and chanting. Can you tell me some reasons? Yes, Mishti or Ethereal?
So I think service is easier because it's engaging all your senses, and in hearing sometimes I zone out and I don't fully hear, but in service you have to automatically always be focused on the task, and I find it more fun.
Mm. Actually speaking, in chanting, you don't have much activity. Just take one mantra and keep on saying Krishna, 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 Krishna. In hearing, you're little more active, where you have to use your intelligence to understand, you have to note down points, you have to, apply your logic and reasoning and analysis to, figure out what's happening there. A lot of intelligence is involved. Okay. But in service, all the senses are involved. You have to move your hands and legs and eyes and ears and nose. Everything is involved while chanting, while doing service. So, relatively speaking, service is a greater hard work, and chanting is very minimal hard work, and hearing is somewhere in between. But reverse, you are finding service much easier because you can be more active. Okay. Okay. Any other explanations? Ansh, there are two Anshas here. This Ansh, first Ansh, you want to say something about it?
Prabhuji, one thing that came to my mind was with chanting, you can get distracted. With listening to a story, you can also get distracted. But when you're doing like service, you get distracted by the service, so you're still doing the service.
Okay. Still you are doing service. There is some action. There's some responsibility from your end. Okay, good. Nice. The other Ansh. Yes, Prabhu.
Service, I like, it's more fun for me. And the service, you just like one of the services I do in the temple is dress Prabhupada sometimes.
Okay, wow.
So
You
it's
just
really fun for me.
amazing. Very good. Okay, we have seen three options, but let's go a little deeper into the first option. When you say chanting, there are two sides of chanting. One is you take your bead bag, take your japamala, and then chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay. Second type of chanting is you engage in kirtan. You chant, you dance, you sing, you play harmonium, you play kartal, you play mridanga. So that's another type of chanting. Which chanting is easier? Chanting on beats or chanting with musical instruments and dancing? Which is easier for you? I have kept two sub options in the first option, one A and one B. Yes. Second, what is second? With musical instruments, not with personal japa, right? Right? So who says that japa is easier than kirtan? Nobody. Okay, who says kirtan is easier than japa? Okay, many of you. Okay. So why is it so? In japa, it's much easier. You are with your bead bag, just sitting in a corner, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. That's much easier, right? Supposed to be easier. But in kirtan, you have to play harmonium or kartal, or you have to match your singing with the musical instruments, or you have to match your musical instrument playing with the singing. You have to dance also, jump up and down also. It is supposed to be much, and you have to sing in a certain raga, right? For japa, you don't need any singing abilities. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But while singing Hare Krishna, like that, you have to stretch your voice so much. A lot of modulation involved there, isn't it? So kirtan is supposed to be much difficult than chanting, technically speaking. But why you are finding kirtan more engaging than japa? Any answers? Are you able to hear me clearly? Your videos are little frozen for me. I don't know, my internet or your internet, I don't know. Yes, who will answer this question? Avani, you didn't speak much today.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Unmute
I think
yourself and
that
speak, Avani.
I think that doing kirtan is more engaging and it's very fun sometimes, like when you're singing and you're dancing, it's very fun to do. And
Okay. That fun is not there in Japa, right? That much is not there in Japa. Okay, fine. Anyone else? Any other opinions? Who finds it finds Japa much easier than Kirtan? Anyone else want to say anything about it? Yes, Karina, what's your opinion?
Prabhuji, I was just agreeing with Avani. I think Kirtan is
I think my more engaging. Okay, fine. Good. I agree with all of you. Now, why is it so? Japa, all of you are finding most difficult. Chanting the holy names privately, which is supposed to be the easiest. You don't have to interact with anyone. Just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You and the Japmala. You are finding it most difficult compared to singing, compared to serving, compared to hearing. The answer is. You want to say any final comments before I reveal the answer? Anyone? Final comments? Yes, Ansh. Navya.
I find kirtan more engaging because it's more fun and chanting is more boring for me.
More boring. Okay, very good. Agreed. I agree with you. Okay. So the reason is when you are chanting Hare Krishna, you are engaging your mind in Krishna's service. You are using your mind to think about Krishna. You are using your mind to concentrate on the name Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You are using your mind. You are getting more exhausted. When you are hearing Krishna's pastimes or Krishna's philosophy or some stories, you're engaging your intelligence. Yes, mind's involvement is there, but more than mind, it is the intelligence that is being engaged. You will understand what is the logic behind this. Now, last 15-20 minutes, I have conducted a small quiz kind of thing. You are analyzing, you are thinking, your intelligence is functioning here. Your experience is coming into picture. But in chanting, it's more passive. There's nothing much for your intelligence to do, right? But in hearing or studying, you have to use your intelligence, okay, to analyze things, to understand things better. Okay, clear? Now, coming to service, intelligence doesn't have so much role to play. Yes, it has some role, but it's little less. The function of the hands and legs is more, eyes is more, the other senses are more. Therefore, you find it more engaging. So, engaging mind is difficult. Engaging intelligence is less difficult. Engaging your senses in Krishna service is much less difficult. Like it's much easier, right? The reason is controlling the mind and focusing on Krishna is extremely difficult. Okay. So it's because most of us are on the platform of senses. We want to use our senses more than intelligence and mind. And those who are intelligent, for them, it's much easier to focus on Krishna Katha than just using one's mind to chant Hare Krishna. But the very first question that I have asked you, why do you chant? What is the logic behind chanting? Many of you children have very nicely responded saying that by chanting, we can be more prayerful. By chanting, we can develop a relationship with Krishna. So you have given wonderful logic behind chanting. But you found chanting more difficult than other activities. Okay, and we have seen the reason. So it's difficult to engage the mind. But please understand, when you are engaging your senses in Krishna's service, it's the wonderful expression of your love, but the focus is more on the service. And while doing the service, we may not exactly remember Krishna, isn't it? How many of you have actually tried to remember Krishna when you're cutting vegetables or just doing book distribution or cooking or whatever physical services you are doing? It's very yeah, it's more easier to focus on the activity that you are doing rather than remembering Krishna there. Okay. But when you are chanting the holy names of Krishna, the focus is more only on remembering Krishna, only on concentrating on Krishna's name, not so much on any physical activity. But in physical activity, you have other things. For example, you are making sweet rice, or for example, our Prabhu is cutting for vegetables. Okay, you are cutting some lady's finger or something like that. So when you are cutting the vegetables, if you get into remembrance of Krishna, Hare Krishna, instead of cutting the vegetable, you may cut your hand, cut your finger. Right? You have to be very careful. You have to concentrate on the activity that you are doing more than remembrance of Krishna. Right? Of course, ultimately it is for Krishna. It is equal to remembering Krishna. It is equal to Krishna consciousness. But you have to focus on the activity. For example, you are boiling milk to make sweet rice. As the milk is getting boiled, you start remembering Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 and the milk will boil over, spill over, and you will lose the milk. Right? Does it happen sometimes? Right? So we have to concentrate on the activity, and that becomes more active engagement for you. Okay. So in our conditioned state means when we are not very perfect in our devotional service, when we are not very advanced in devotional service, engaging senses becomes much easier than engaging mind. What are the functions of the mind, children? Tell me, what do you do with you? Now that I informed you that while chanting, you're primarily using your mind. Of course, tongue is vibrating, ear is hearing, so senses are involved, but primarily you're engaging mind, which is difficult. While hearing, you're primarily engaging, prominently engaging your intelligence. And while serving, you're engaging your senses, body, mind, and body, hands, legs, etc. Okay. So, can you please tell me what is the function of your mind? What does your mind do? What are the functions of mind? Yes, Biraj Roy.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the function of our mind is to think about Lord Krishna while we're doing services or chanting or distributing
That's
books.
fine. No, I'm not asking about devotional context. I'm just simply asking.
To
For
think.
example, the function of my eyes is to see. Clear? I can see Krishna, I can see this mouse also, I can see this wire also. Okay. But function of the eye is to see. Clear?
Yeah.
Function of ear is to hear. Okay. Function of hands is to do work. Function of legs is to walk. Function of nose is to smell. Similarly, what is the function of mind?
It's to think.
Hmm?
To think.
Thinking. Okay. One function of mind. Functions. Sampada. What are the other functions of mind? Thinking is one. Biraj said.
To process information.
To process information. Okay. Park it. I'll come back to it. Yes, Vinita. Vinita, you're raising your hand?
Yeah,
What are the functions?
The function of the mind is to control the senses.
To control the senses. That's a wonderful answer. More technical answer. Anyone else? Yes, Ansh. What are the functions of mind?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I thought one function of the mind would be to carry out actions or to process actions.
Process actions. Okay, fine. Then what is the function of your intelligence? Can you please tell me what's the function of your intelligence? You said mind is thinking and then few other things. So what does intelligence do in your body? Do you have intelligence, right? You have intelligence, right? What is the shape of your intelligence? Can anyone tell me the shape of your mind, shape of intelligence? Sometimes eyes are compared to the shape of a fish. Okay. So, what is the shape of your mind and intelligence? Yes, Navya. Yeah, Navya, speak out.
I didn't mean to raise my hand, Prabhuji.
Huh?
I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Oh, okay, okay. Anyone else? What is the function of your intelligence? And does intelligence or mind have a shape? Yes, Biraj.
Prabhuji, I would say that the function of your intelligence is to apply your mind, and it has no
Apply
shape.
mind. What do you mean by applying mind?
to use what we know, right? To
Okay.
use what we know in our mind.
Okay. So knowing is also function of mind. That's what you are saying, isn't it? Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Ansh.
To control the mind?
Intelligence controls the mind. That's a wonderful answer. Anyone else? Oftentimes we use these words mind and intelligence interchangeably. How many of you have used these words interchangeably? Mind and intelligence, but actually they are different. So let me give you the answer without too much analysis. So the function of mind is thinking, feeling. Mind is a storehouse of desires, thoughts, emotions, feelings. Do you agree? Mind is a storehouse of desires, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And what is the function of intelligence? Intelligence is that faculty in us that does the analysis, reasoning, rational analysis of things, logical analysis. For example, mind has a desire to eat ice cream. Okay. Mind can only desire, but mind cannot analyze. It is the intelligence within us that analyzes whether the mind's desire to eat ice cream is good or not. Oh, you have cold, and if you eat ice cream, your cold will increase. Therefore, you should not. So, all that analysis is done by the intelligence, not the mind. Mind can only desire. A thought comes in the mind, whether the thought is positive or negative, good or bad, useful or useless, beneficial or harmful. All that analysis is done by the intelligence. Do you agree with this? Did you understand this? So, intelligence is the faculty within us that does this analysis, but mind is that faculty that only stores desires, thoughts, impressions, and feelings and emotions. You start emotionally connecting with somebody, right? So that is the function of mind. So now what is the function of senses? To do so much work. Basically, the senses, eyes or nose or ears or whatever, they are functioning according to the dictations of mind and intelligence within. Okay, mind desires to eat ice cream. Then eyes look at the ice cream parlor. Okay, and legs walk towards the ice cream parlor. Then hands pick up the ice cream. Tongue tastes the ice cream. Okay, ears will hear what's the cost of the ice cream, what the other fellow is saying. Basically, mind is desiring and intelligence has sanctioned it, and the senses are functioning to get the ice cream. Is it clear? So, senses are subordinates. Senses are just physical bodily limbs that execute the desires of the mind, which are sanctioned by the intelligence. Okay, intelligence processes the desires, mind desires, intelligence processes the desires, and senses execute the desires. Is it clear? So now come back to our original question. With mind, when you are chanting, you are primarily engaging your mind. When you are hearing, you are primarily engaging your intelligence. And when you are serving, you're using all your senses. So you're finding engaging senses is easier, but engaging mind and intelligence is more difficult compared to engaging senses. The reason is because we are not so developed in our emotions for Krishna. We are not so developed in intelligently understanding the tattva, the philosophy of Krishna. We find those activities difficult, but we find serving very easy. Because we do it on a material platform also. We are trying to do it in spiritual platform now. But the activity done by the senses is much easier. Okay. So, but focusing the mind on Krishna, having emotions, for someone who has actually developed emotions, chanting Hare Krishna is very easy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You have developed an emotional bonding with Krishna. You have developed a very close relationship with Krishna. That means you constantly feel like chanting his name, remembering his name. Okay, then it becomes very easy. So in a sadhaka stage, in our preliminary stages of devotional service, bhakti, we don't have so much of emotions for Krishna. We don't have bhava. Bhava means emotion. That emotional bonding is not developed completely. Therefore, we find chanting difficult. Okay. But service is easy. Moving hands and legs is easy. But thinking about Krishna, concentrating on Krishna's name requires more purity, more focus, more concentration. Therefore, we find it a bit difficult, okay, in the initial days. Therefore, Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, they recommend that we do all these three things. You chant for a couple of hours, 16 rounds, then you hear for an hour or so, Bhagavatam class, then whole day you do some service. Thus, a nice balance is created. So, as you are progressing in bhakti, your chanting should increase, right? Because you are developing more and more emotions for Krishna. So, at this moment, for an average conditioned soul to understand Krishna, appreciate Krishna is very difficult. But if we happen to engage our senses in Krishna's service, eventually Krishna himself will reveal to us and we will end up cultivating wonderful emotions towards Krishna. So, working for somebody is easy, but understanding that person is more difficult. Having an emotional bonding with that person is more difficult. Is it clear? Now, somebody may work in a company, fine, in a nice company, and monthly they're getting salary. So you work for that person, that's easy. But how many people who are working for that person 8 hours or 10 hours in a day know that person completely? Knowing is more difficult, right? Knowing is even more intimate. And how many of those people who know the person have an intimate emotional bonding, heart-to-heart relationship with that person? They're even more rare, right? In a company, say 1,000 people are working. Out of 1,000 people, how many people, all 1,000 are working, but only few people know the person, know the CEO, know the main boss of that company nicely. And out of them, only very few people have an emotional bonding, deep love and relationship and nice connection with that person. They are even more rare, right? Isn't it? Similarly, Krishna has millions of devotees. Only few people have an emotional bonding with Krishna. Okay, that emotional bonding is expressed mainly through Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, but there are and there are people who understand Krishna's tattva, right? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All of us know this. Krishna is like a string. You know that shloka? Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. How many of you know that shloka? Mattaha parataram nanyat. Who will say that shloka? Is Navya? You can say.
Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya may sarvam idam prutam sutramani dhanaiva.
What is the meaning of the shloka? Who will tell me the meaning? Yes, Anish, you want to say the meaning?
Everything rests on me just as pearls are strung on a thread.
Okay. So all these pearls are there. They are not pearls, they are tulsi beads. Okay. They are there like this because there is a string. Okay. Without this string, they cannot stay together. They will just disperse here and there. Right? So Krishna is that string. And all the elements in the universe are like these pearls. Right? So now we know this. We know about Krishna's greatness. But although many people know Krishna's greatness, having an emotional bonding with Krishna is even more rare, right? So when you're hearing, you're trying to know Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, the glory of Krishna's names, forms, activities, and glories and qualities. Okay, so that's you find it little easier. But everybody who knows a person may not love that person. Okay, everybody who works for a person may not love that person. But when you love that person, you will naturally want to know more about that person and work for that person, isn't it? So therefore, chanting, we find it difficult because we have not yet developed a deep emotional bonding with Krishna. But if you continue to chant every day, few rounds, 16 rounds or whatever number of rounds that you have taken up, okay, if you continue to do it, eventually you will develop that emotional bonding with Krishna, that really close connection with Krishna. You try to connect with Krishna not only on the platform of senses, but on the platform of mind, which is a very advanced way. you try to give some place to Krishna within your heart. So you try to develop deep emotional relationship with Krishna. That's why Krishna said, Buddha bhava samanvita. Buddha bhava samanvita means, Buddha means to understand Krishna with your intelligence by hearing. Bhava means to have emotional bonding with Krishna by chanting. Okay. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartati iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaah. Okay. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya samshayah. You know this shloka? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara. Mamanusmara means chanting always. Yudhyacha means doing service. Okay. Mayyarpita mano buddhi. Offering buddhi to Krishna is intelligence, hearing. Right? So these are the three ways of connecting with Krishna: through mind, through intelligence, and through senses. Initially, engaging senses in Krishna service is much easier, and engaging mind in Krishna service is sometimes boring, as some children said, right? But after you develop your devotion for Krishna, it's no more boring. You become so addicted to the holy name, just like Haridas Thakur. He chants 192 rounds in a day. How many of you know Haridas Thakur? All of you know, right? He's not getting bored by chanting 192 rounds. He is so addicted to the chanting of the holy name. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So he went to attend nature call. So he was unable to stop chanting. So Mahaprabhu was holding his tongue between his teeth, like this, so that he wouldn't chant in such a filthy place. Then one little child came. His name is Gopal. He said, Hey Mahaprabhu, why are you restricting yourself from chanting? You should continue to chant. Even if it is bathroom also, you can chant. Not an issue. So chanting, there is no rules and regulations. You can remember Krishna anytime. You can chant his names. You can think of Krishna's names anytime. And that little child became Gopal Guru. Mahaprabhu said, Yes, you are like my Guru. Right? I accept you as Gopal Guru because you have so much love and affection for chanting. So that's the purpose of chanting. There's a beautiful shloka. Madhura madhura metan mangalam mangalanam sakala nigamavalli satphalam chitsvarupam sakridapi parigitam shraddhaya helayava bhruguvaranaramatram tarayet Krishna nama. Madhura madhura metan. Of all the sweetest things, the sweetest thing is holy name of Krishna. Mangalam Mangalanam. Of all the auspicious things, the most auspicious thing is Krishna's name, right? Sakala Nigama Valli Satphalam Chitsvarupam. Holy name of Krishna is like a ripened fruit of the creeper of all scriptures. Anyways, like that, the names of Krishna are glorified in various ways. By chanting the holy name of Krishna, we will be relieved from all sinful reactions, and more than that, we will develop love for Krishna. Emotional bonding with Krishna. So you got it? Did I confuse you? Is the last 35 minutes, was it okay? Now you tell me, what did you learn in our 45 minutes discussion? 40 minutes discussion. Tell me your most favorite lesson, then I'll take questions. What did you learn today? Ansh, what's your favorite point in the entire discussion that we had?
My favorite point was, well, something that I didn't know was the reason why chanting is so hard. So that was something interesting to me.
Okay, good. Next. Vaidehi, what did you learn? Did you learn anything or did you waste your time?
No, I did learn. Like one was same as Ansh, and also how you mentioned that the more you develop that emotional connection with Krishna, the easier it becomes to do the chanting.
Amazing. Next, Navya.
Prabhuji, I liked that if we keep chanting, then eventually we will develop a taste. And I liked how you told us about Haridas Thakur because that was inspirational.
Jai. Avani?
Prabhuji, one thing that I learned new today was the difference between mind and intelligence, because I used to use those both as the same term. Then today I learned they were completely different things.
Yes, correct. Then Mishti. And
Prabhuji, I liked how you explained about chanting and like how it's compared to hearing and service, and how it's chanting and hearing are more important because like you also are having a direct connection with Krishna. And I also liked how you said that chanting can be done anywhere, doesn't matter where.
So we need to have a good balance between all three. We should chant for some time in a day. We should hear about Krishna, study scriptures nicely for some time in a day. And we should use some portion of the day to also render services to Krishna. So when there's a good balance, so the chanting will help us to be in good consciousness while serving. And service will help us also to get absorbed in chanting. Okay, while chanting, you are actually requesting for service. Oh Lord, please engage me in your service, right? So that's a prayerful connection. That's an emotional bonding that you are developing with Krishna. That a loving relationship you are developing with Krishna. When you love someone, you will naturally serve, isn't it? You can't say, I love him so much, but I will not do anything for him. Does it work like that? So if you love somebody, you will serve that person. If you love someone, you would like to know that person. Right? Therefore, your chanting is a way to develop love for Krishna, and you hear about Krishna to know more about him. That is also a way of developing love. And you are serving Krishna to express your love. Thus, all three should go hand in hand. You can't say, oh, chanting is higher, therefore I will only chant, I will not do any services. Right? Or service is easier, I will only do service, I will not do any chanting. It doesn't work like that. So, a combination of all three is important. Yes, Ishan, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I learned that like chanting is physically easier than service, but mentally it is harder.
Correct. Anyone else would like to share? Others, Sampada, then Nishita, who did not speak today at all.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I learned that we should develop the emotional connection with Krishna on the level of mind and not just on the level of senses.
Good. Okay, one final lesson. Who wants to say? Is Nishita?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I think somebody already said this, but one thing that I learned was that you can chant anywhere and it doesn't matter. Like you can always think of Krishna anywhere.
Correct. Diksha. You're speaking? You raised your hand?
No, I didn't raise my hand.
Okay, fine. No problem. So now, any questions or comments? We are concluding the class. You have any questions or comments? You can ask now. No questions. I thought you'll have so many questions. Ansh.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question I had was since we learned that we can chant anywhere, so while doing service, couldn't we still chant?
Yes, of course you should chant. But your chanting should not compromise on the service. Your chanting or your remembrance of Krishna should not make you underperform in your service. You should give the necessary attention that is required for the service. I'll tell you one example. There is one devotee, Daruka. You know Daruka? Daruka is the driver of Krishna in Dwarka. So once he was fanning Krishna like this, okay, then suddenly he became overwhelmed with remembrance of Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. He was remembering, and automatically tears fell from his eyes, and the eyes became moistened, and the vision became blur. He's unable to see Krishna. So naturally, his hand movement, because of emotional, so many emotions, his hand movement became slow. Then he said, "Hey, I should just stop these tears and all. I should focus on my service." Right? Sometimes when we are getting too emotional for Krishna, which is very good, we may compromise on the service. So service should also happen, right? They both should go hand in hand.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very well.
Vaidehi?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what tips do you have to like stay more focused while chanting?
Okay, that's an amazing question. Even I'm also struggling to focus on my chanting Hare Krishna. One tip that I can give is keep your smartphone far away from you when you're chanting. Most practical tip that I can give you. Okay. Don't, many times we have beads in our right hand, or at least sometimes we have mouse in our left hand. We are just moving like this, or our left hand is there on the trackpad. Close your laptop while you're chanting. Okay, and keep your smartphone aside while you're chanting. Okay. Sometimes there may be some emergency. I'm not speaking about that, but on a regular basis, try to stay away from gadgets from when you're chanting. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is that, say you're sitting in the temple hall without phones or laptops with you, no gadgets with you. You are in the midst of so many devotees. Everybody's trying to sincerely chant. You are standing in front of Tulsi Maharani. Still, there is a possibility that mind may get distracted. How many of you feel that your mind is getting distracted although you're sitting in the temple hall, chanting with devotees? It happens with me hundreds of times. So, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, you know the shloka? Yato yato nischalati manaschanchalamassthiram. Who knows this shloka? Anyone knows? Okay. He says, yato yato nischalati manaschanchalamassthiram. Whenever the mind goes away from you, you try to bring the mind back. Tapastato niyam yaitat atmanyeva vasham nayat. You need to bring the mind back. That attempt to bring the distracted mind back and making it focus on the holy name is called attentiveness. Attentiveness means your attempt to bring the mind back. Okay, that is attentiveness. You have to attentively chant. So how do you do that? Let me give you a simple example. Have you ever seen a mother with a little baby in her lap? Have you ever seen? Sometimes the baby is very explorative, adventurous, curious to explore things. So the baby will just come out of mother's lap and then try to pick up something, right? The baby may pick up a book. Okay. So when the baby picked up the book and then just trying to see pictures inside, Krishna pictures or something like that, mother may not bother the child. Okay, let him play with the book. Okay. If the baby is just tearing the book, mother will immediately take the book away, isn't it? Have you noticed it? So if the baby touches something harmful, the baby takes up a pen and then puts in his nose or mouth or ears, mother will immediately take it away. It's harmful. If the baby picks up a fruit or a toy, mother will allow the child to play with it, right? So whenever the child is touching something harmful, mother will restrict the child. Whenever the child is touching something harmless, mother will allow the child to do so. Right? Have you noticed it? Maybe when you are holding your baby, little babies in your hand also, in your lap also, you will do the same thing. Mind is also like that restless, innocent child. Okay? Mind is also like that. Just like mother controls the child's movements, similarly, the intelligence should also control the mind. We just said intelligence is higher than the mind. We just discussed, right? So with your intelligence, you should try to bring the mind back. Whenever the mind is thinking of something positive, you allow the mind to do so. Whenever the mind is thinking of something negative, you restrict the mind. Hey, come back, mind, come back, focus on the holy name, right? Similarly, when you are chanting the holy names of Krishna, when you are chanting, whenever the mind is wandering, while chanting, you think of your homework. While chanting, you think of some argument that you had with your friend. It happens, right? While chanting, you feel, when will I take breakfast? What is the item for today's lunch? Okay. Did they make pizza or non-spicy kisdi? So all these thoughts keep coming in the mind. Okay. Then, yeah, it's very natural, but your intelligence should remind you, hey, mind, don't do that. Okay. Sometimes as we are thinking of something, one round is passed completely. We don't even concentrate on even one name that we have chanted, one mantra that we have chanted, then entire round passes. Okay. So why? Because we are not using our intelligence. We are not putting our intelligence into action. Although chanting is primarily an activity done with the mind, you should make your intelligence also active. So how? Whenever the mind is thinking of something else, intelligence should bring it back. Just like whenever a child touches something harmful, mother will pull the child back into her lap. Okay. Mind is very innocent. Many times we chastise the mind, but mind is actually very innocent, like a child. But intelligence should act like a mother and regulate activities of the child, regulate the movements of the child. Does it make sense? Who asked the question? Why he asked? Yeah. You got the answer? Okay, last question. Karina.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. You said that anyone can chant anywhere, anytime. You could
Yes.
chant during service, you could chant during kirtan. I mean, you do chant during kirtan. So let's just say you're chanting during service. But you also said that we should also be fully concentrated when we do chanting.
Mm.
So what
Mm.
if when we do service, we can't really focus on doing chanting, but we still want to chant so we can get like both of them done?
Mm.
What is the explanation to that?
Yes. The answer is remembering Krishna while doing a service without obstructing your performance in the service is valid. Fine. I just gave the example of Daruka. But doing some service while chanting, now you try to allocate time. For example, this is chanting, I may take say 2 hours or 1.5 hours to chant 16 rounds. I have allocated that time. While doing that, let me not do any other service. I said sometimes people may check smartphone, right? They may answer some messages sent by devotees only. That is regarding some service to Krishna only. But still, that service has to be kept aside when you are chanting. Fine. So let's not mix both. For example, doing Aarti is a service, right? It's a very important activity. Doing Aarti. It's very spiritual, isn't it? Taking prasadam, honoring prasadam is also spiritual, right? Yes, Karina? Honoring prasadam, Mahaprasade, Govinde. So that is also spiritual activity. So eating prasadam is spiritual activity. Hare Krishna. Everything is frozen. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So eating prasadam is spiritual activity. Offering arati to the Lord is also spiritual activity. But you cannot mix both. Right? You cannot mix both. I will offer dhoop and eat one rasgulla. I will offer deep and I will eat one rasgulla, rasmalai. I will offer flowers and I will eat one pizza. It doesn't work like that. So when you are doing arati, do arati. When you are eating prasadam, eat prasadam. So try to separate things. Okay, although they are all spiritual activities, you cannot mix two activities. Okay, now some things can be mixed, something should not be mixed. How many of you are from South India? You ate idli or dosa, or North India paratha with some curd and achar. Okay, you ate that, right? So you can eat paratha with some achar or curd, but you cannot eat gulab jamun with chutney. Did you ever eat gulab jamun with chutney? They are not compatible combinations. So keep gulab jamun aside, keep chutney aside. You cannot mix both. I'll put some mirchi into gulab jamun and then eat it. It doesn't work like that. Okay. Some things can be mixed, something should not be mixed. Does it answer your question, Karina?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Should we conclude here? We'll conclude here. Shubh-Vilas going, Prabhu? It's almost an hour.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much for this wonderful, enlightening session and engaging with all of us and in such a practical way and guiding us. We're very, very grateful and answering such nice question answers also.
Thank you. And I like the devotees here. They're very intelligent, mature, and they're involving in discussions. So that's what will make the whole session very memorable and exciting. Okay, and the participation is good. Thank you. If it is a on-site class, live class, we would have had more interaction, more exciting discussions. But online also has its own charm. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. My best wishes to all the children for your chanting, for your shastric study and hearing, and for your services, and for your academic studies also. Don't neglect that. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
HG Gauranga Darshan Prabhu ki jai. We'll offer our deepest gratitude to Prabhuji by 3 times loudly chanting. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.